Hey, you have a fun base. You can do it. Oh, there's Type-C. And also, regarding to previous talk, we are happy to see that privacy players talk to each other. Wait a second. Yeah, here you go.
Is there?
Simply building the future of.
Okay, doesn't really play. Hello. I was going to play a little audio, but it's not coming through the speakers, so... Oh. Oh, I have to update the settings. Okay, 1 second. Sound. Okay, all right.
We are simply building the future of. That approach
is rooted in outdated metaphysics.
We exist in the past, in the present, in the future, in the space-time continuum, in the present moment. We build toward the future timeline that is the better one.
One where we live in a more free society.
We intuit there exists a timeline where privacy, peace, and freedom coexist.
We transcribe its eternal forms into mathematical equations and geometries, so the wave functions are more clear.
We intuit that timeline collapses its wave functions so that becomes our reality branch. It is this longing that drives us, and a glimpse of a feeling that makes us believe that it is possible.
Regardless of the status quo that tries so deeply to maintain itself, we will help facilitate a remembering of this.
A remembering of this memory for others. We will reach into the depths of the unknown, the encrypted parts of our consciousness, and better describe what it embodies, what it feels like, and tastes like, to carve out a way to activate others into this timeline, into this feeling, into this remembrance.
The past, present, future reality of a free society feels ever so close,
Yet ever so far as well. Yet we are metaphysical architects.
We hack the matrix of
Quantum reality and re-engineer space-time to accelerate towards better futures. We are Black Sky Society.
Okay, I wanted to just play that intro first to give some context for Black Sky Society, which is the crew that has been doing the metaphysical architecture for the post-web. Basically the way that Black Sky Society works is we're a society that's organized into 6 topics. And over the past year or so, we've been most focused on the post-web topic, which is going to be the focus of this presentation today. But yeah, there are many more, because the reason that we want something like a post-web is to create a knowledge-centered societies. So there are all these different topics that we're interested in. And the society is organized around 6 tenets. And we expect that, people that want to particularly participate or contribute to Black Sky Society, they would be aligned around these tenets. But for example, when we launch an initiative like the Post-Web, we don't see it as something that we are going to be fully owning and controlling. We want other organizations to be a part of it that, might have slightly different tenets or principles, but that's okay, as long as we can align around the Post-Web and those principles. So this presentation is just going to be me showing a lot of different websites, because a lot of this was just done in the past week or so, and we were trying to get this together for this talk. And I also wanted to thank the Web3Privacy Now initiative and folks for having us here. It was a bit of a funny story, actually, but maybe I'll save that for a rainy day. So, what is the Post-Web? So if you go to our website, which is blackskysociety.network, and you click on this Access Zine, first of all, this zine, it's not hosted on the regular web. It's hosted using Radical right now, which is a project that I started contributing to in September of last year. Actually, that was after I invited Cloudhead to speak at one of our events that we were organizing in Paris, and we were starting to talk a lot and saw that there was a lot of value alignment and other things. But yeah, this isn't just hosted or distributed on Radical right now because I am a contributor there, but because I honestly believe in the technology a lot, and that's why I decided to become a longer-term contributor to the project. So I'm going to describe what the Post-Web is. I'm going to read out these principles. Perhaps some of you may have heard it before, but if not, maybe this is your first time hearing it, because either way, we have not shared any videos of it on the internet, so this will be it. So what is Post-Web? It is an emerging ecosystem-agnostic, research-oriented movement or initiative for the future of connectivity, of internet connectivity. There are various things that it prioritizes, because one of the reasons that basically Post-Web came along as a concept was because, just looking back at the development of Web3 over the past few years, there are some people in this room, perhaps, that might already align with these sorts of principles, but that is not the norm. That is not the norm of the Web3 ecosystem. Even though, in the beginning, there were some aspects of this, like censorship, resistance, and privacy, that were discussed, but it became, especially the privacy component, became put on the back burner a lot. But what happened over the past few years is all of these different blockchain ecosystems started to emerge, but they also, they're not all interoperable though. And that is a problem. So with Post-Web, we wanted to bring together interoperability as a principle, and also, I would say, privacy. I would say those are the two principles that sandwich this initiative. And then there's a lot of stuff in the middle that, it might be, I would say they're very important, but it's these two at the bottom and top that make the Post-Web something that is not so common, I would say. So we're creating these principles and releasing them because we want to see if it's possible for these ideas to become more common, these ideas to be more understood. So I'm going to read through the principles, and then we can talk a little bit more about how this can potentially be possible. So the first principle, privacy and security. Privacy is upheld by minimizing unwanted exposure of data and metadata for individuals and organizations alike, ensuring end-to-end security. There are fine-grained information and data disclosure capabilities with the ability to control what, where, when, and to whom information is disclosed. Financial transactions are private by default. Remote services handle only encrypted content without access to sensitive details, such as user location. Then local first. Protocols and applications implement local first data access when feasible, enabling offline and asynchronous information access, especially for essential services such as communications and knowledge networks. Users can search and discover information on their devices within their communities and groups, as well as globally via privacy-preserving protocols that are connected from the bottom up and are interoperable. So the focus should be on designing robust tools that are effective in real-world local context before considering global standards and remote services. Autonomous identities. Organizations, individuals, and non-human agents alike can exercise full control over their identities and associated data. Context-dependent pseudonymous cryptographic systems are employed to establish privacy-preserving relationships without relying on biometric data or other personally identifiable information. While it is difficult to design a unified identity system, standards are in place to facilitate interoperability and portability across various identity systems. Organization rights portability. Organizations are recognized as unique digital entities that leverage interoperable permission models for encouraging organizational structures, roles, and access rights to enable efficient interactions and portable user rights across ecosystems of applications used by an organization. This emphasizes organizational agency where interconnected digital ecosystems are fostered and enabling organizations to adapt and self-regulate and thrive within a network ecology. Resilience. Adaptive synchronization protocols with built-in fault tolerance and recovery mechanisms will ensure connectivity even in the face of attacks and network disruptions. Additionally, protocols are scalable, capable of adapting to growing user bases and network demands, ensuring consistent performance. Protocols are designed to use resources efficiently, minimizing overhead and maximizing throughput. And then lastly, pluralistic interoperability. A diverse ecosystem of protocols, applications, and tools developed by various teams is essential. There's not one common programming language, nor one common software stack. Hence, the use and exchange of multiple cryptocurrencies and data formats is facilitated by ensuring interoperability through common protocols, data formats, or transport layers. Community-driven funding and decision-making processes which distribute power across diverse stakeholders and jurisdictions is expected for the protocol commons, thereby enhancing the system's resilience and adaptability to evolving needs and priorities. So, sorry, no, like reading stuff out like that is a bit dry, but it's on video now, so. Okay, so that was a lot, but like I said, the last point is one of the most important ones, and also the first point, because right now, as we see, when it comes to privacy and that being something that is accepted as a system requirement, people are afraid. And if there's a minority in the ecosystem that are, tackling privacy, it's going to continue to be something that is challenging or difficult for those people. So, but if for example, a large percentage of the Web3 industry transformed into being aligned around these principles and also having interoperability as a component of it. And from interoperability, I mean, something like beyond Cosmos' IBC. I think Anoma is one of the teams that's pushing forward this narrative of private bridging. So that sort of mentality and making that more the norm is what I think will allow us all to, better unite as a movement, or like as a minority within the crypto ecosystem, where the first step would be these becoming the norm within crypto, and then after that, perhaps the world at large will even see this system as something that they actually trust and want to be a part of, and it moves beyond how it has developed over the past few years to be more emulating how the development of startups in Silicon Valley works, where we see each other as competitors going after the same users or market share, and it just becomes this game of onboarding users and making sure we do that, making sure the token launches and it's valued well and become the next unicorn. Oh, we need $1 billion valuation protocol. It's like that. I think that started to become the thing that became programmed in people's minds, but I think we can update that programming and perhaps return to, some of the original ideas that might have been what brought a lot of us here today, who have now become the minority of this space. So if we want these sort of ideas to become the majority, then we need to believe that it's possible. We need to figure out how it can be possible. We need to do the work. We need to do actual research. So PostWeb is a research-oriented initiative. We're not going out there and saying, we are launching a new blockchain, give us money so we can do our research in-house and maybe put it on our forum and hopefully people come there. We are saying that whenever you publish research in that way, each protocol has this sort of home turf advantage and this sort of way of how they're building the community to try to make that protocol the central point of the research. We are saying that actually that's the problem that is standing in the way of collaboration. So that research needs to go into a place that has no biases around what protocol it's a part of. And maybe by actually creating these technological foundations of research and knowledge sharing and these spaces that are as non-biased as possible, people will come in, people will share their research there, people will figure out how to reduce the duplication of efforts, people will sort out the largest challenge that exists, the largest technological, this is, I think, one of the largest technological challenges of the world right now. And I don't think that we are making a good effort. We are not. So, but we can. We have a lot of these tools that already allow us to, for example, make a website like this, and it's not even hosted anywhere, but it's being distributed on, 10 or 13 different nodes already, and I just, hit the push button an hour ago. So it's like, here is a censorship-resistant website in some sense. Here, maybe Radical is not 100% post-web yet right now, but, these tools are, we're developing so many important tools that can be connected and put together and make this collaboration process more smooth. It's like this is all a Git repository. It can be replicated on other Git servers. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, we've published this post-web zine, and there's a full paper that opens up, the principles and the reasoning behind it, which was sort of what I just went through without reading it. But what I was going to say is, oh yes, how do we do this? Okay, so there's this website, or this decentralized hosted website. And there's also this this get involved link. So I have it open here. Okay, so basically, I want to explain some of the goals of a post-web, because we are trying to get grants funding for this initiative, because like I said, it's like, yeah, Black Sky Society, we are a society, we could go out there and like sell some fucking tokens like Praxis or whatever, but you know, we're not doing that yet. We don't like, you know, it's like, yeah, maybe that'll come in like 10 years when we've built the post web, but for now, let's just create the post web. Like, but if no one funds it, maybe we'll go fucking do a token, but so you know, their backup plans will be like, nobody wanted to fund the post web, so we got forced to just create a token. Now we are building a blockchain and it'll be better than everyone else's. Okay, so so yeah, we're just trying to raise about between 175,000 to 220,000. If people want to give us more, that's great, because we could do a lot more. We could make sci-fi. We could do all this other fun stuff. But for right now, this is just focused on getting the basic research fundamentals funded. So, you know, the goals are something like establishing a post-web alliance, determining if we need a nonprofit, or how is the best way that this could be governed in a way that it doesn't have that much power. It's just, you know, serving as some coordination research sort of, you know, herders. And then create a research portal. So, you know, a lot of people, even like Web3Privacy Now, they're saying we are creating the L2 beat for privacy. So I didn't know that they were saying that that's, you know, how they're positioning their research, but we've also been thinking, okay, there should be something like an L2 beat for the post-web. It would be different from Web3Privacy Now, as I think that the efforts that they are doing, they surface so many different privacy projects, and there's a lot of collective intelligence involved in it. But for the post-web, it would be more focused. We would already filter out perhaps 95% of stuff that doesn't even seem close, and just focus on, you know, the 10% that actually seems like they'd be, you know, ecosystems that might actually have a chance of wanting to align around these principles, around these initiatives, and start to perhaps even modify how they're developing their roadmaps, how they're developing their protocols. So it's a bit, I would say, more strategic for how we're gonna select the research projects. So it'll be an element of that, prioritizing projects that seem like they're close enough to be value aligned with post-web, but also, for example, if there's, for example, like a privacy project and it's starting to get a lot of attention and we think it's really bad, we'll also prioritize getting that information out there from like a trying to protect people perspective. So that's like the research portal. So there will be some sort of like dimensions, some sort of rating system. We want to develop this with the community. We don't want to just be like, we are Black Sky Society, we fucking know everything, listen to us. Like, you know, it's like these dimensions, they need to be developed by the community for how we analyze protocols and how we rate them. So yeah, we'd prioritize about 8 to 12 reports first, and then also continuing to expand this digital version of the zine with a few more articles, do a volume 2 of the zine, and then have a little bit allocated towards event planning, not fully funding our next events, but getting that process going so we could fundraise for them. And then community insights, just hosting regular post-web calls and community discussions that we'll have in our Signal group, and then having a better process for how we synthesize that information, because we have, you know, used Telegram in the past and we've had a lot of community discussions, but we still haven't, you know, transferred that knowledge into somewhere like a Markdown file. But, you know, we want to be able to do these things with a bit more capacity. And then, yeah, so this proposal also describes the sort of, you know, questions. There are general questions, but then there are questions focused on local first peer-to-peer protocols and then privacy protocols, because we're basically splitting up the research initiative to focus on like about 50% on emerging privacy protocols, but also local first P2P frameworks, whether that's DAT, Hypercore, Waku, Socket Supply DXOS, which is still in the DAT world, Valid, Radical, Ceramic, and then Anoma, because a lot of what is a privacy protocol also has a peer-to-peer project. So, but there are more people working on peer-to-peer that are outside of, I would say, the blockchain ecosystem or outside of the privacy protocol ecosystem. So that's, I would say, another one of the differences of the post-web initiative, because we, believing very much in local first peer-to-peer as a component of how data transfer works. We want to put a lot of attention there, and also a lot of, figure out how does it advance in the best way to benefit also as many protocols as possible. Yeah, so I'm not sure how I am on time. A bit? Yeah, like 15 or 10? 5? Okay. Okay, so basically, yeah. So like just general questions that would apply for both projects. It's just like, okay, what are its technical foundations? Has there been a security audit? Can you easily use Tor or some kind of mixnet like NIM or Hopper or what have you with the protocols of the projects? How well does it work? Do things feel buggy? What sort of apps are built on top of it? What does the usage look like? How is the code licensed? Is any aspect of the ecosystem proprietary? How do you contribute to the community? Are there any dev grants? And then so for the local first peer-to-peer questions, it would be like, does it use an access control list, or does it use object capabilities? Can you delete data? How does it handle that? Is there NAT traversal? Is it more federated and rely on always-on nodes? What is its reliance on centralized infrastructure or components? Can you replicate data in an offline way over Bluetooth or WLAN, or do you need to be connected to the internet? Does it use a DHT? Is data end-to-end encrypted? Is there some sort of eventual consistency? Can you determine if you're a missing state? Privacy protocols. I definitely did not write these bullets, but so, yeah, standardized protocol and implementation descriptions in the universal composability framework capturing expected information leakage, examine privacy guarantees and security assumptions against different adversaries, document common design primitives and patterns, collect user stories and experiences and interfaces for privacy-preserving apps, highlighting pain points and feature suggestions, and discuss challenge and proposed solutions relating to compliance and regulation. But yeah, I'm grateful to have some technical experts advising things when it comes to our privacy research. And then, so yeah, then we have some stretch goals when it comes to this initiative, and one is a post-web newsletter, and then, yeah, you're gonna have to have some sort of podcast or something to spread the message, so there will be something like that, but it will hopefully be very different, like animated and videos and uncanny. But yeah, so, and then there's, I don't need to go into the nitty-gritty details here, but there are some various contributors. TG, he's I would say our peer-to-peer distributed systems expert that's on the team that really shaped a lot of the principles, so yeah, I'm glad that we have him on board. And then Sarah Grant, she's been organizing a conference called Radical Networks, not like the protocol radical, but radical. And she's based in Berlin, actually. And then Giulio Prisco, someone who I've been collaborating for a really long time on various things. Actually, we're going to launch a space DAO together called Space Decentral many years ago, but we never did. But all this Black Sky Society work, it's leading there. So once we have the post web, then we will have some really cool science and physics experiments, and we're gonna figure out how to create wormholes. Because, yeah, we want to do some quantum physics research with the post-web. So, and then Wadada and Monica. Monica helped create the HTML of this post-web zine, and Wadada made the really cool website. And then Loie. She's been a contributor in various ecosystems, and she will be helping with our people ops. And then Shane McCauley, who's going to be, who's helping with a lot of graphic design and zine production stuff. So yeah. With that being said, I guess I can open it up for some questions if anyone has any. But yeah, that's PostWeb. If you want to help, reach out to me. Stellar Magnet on Twitter. Yeah. So that's how you can send me a message. And if you go to that link, there's also, links to Black Sky and other things like that there. So.
We're a bit out of schedule. Maybe one question, just to have a nice rhyme with the talk. Anyone? I think people are cool. Thanks a lot, Stella. We having